Today on Lead Well, I want to talk to you about servant leadership. The world often thinks about leadership like an elevated position that you climb up a ladder to get to. And the higher you get on the ladder, the better the benefits are, the more luxuries you can afford, the more accolades you can collect for yourself. And this always results in people trying to climb over one another to get ahead in this race for status and for recognition. But Jesus looked at leadership very, very differently. In Mark chapter 10, Jesus' disciples are doing exactly this. They're trying to climb over one another to get ahead. And James and John make a crazy request of Jesus that they could sit on his right and at his left in the kingdom of God as he sits on his throne in glory. But Jesus' response is probably not what the disciples expected. He says, "You know that those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them." He's talking about the people who have ascended to the heights of worldly authority here. These are the government officials, the influential CEOs. These are people who have sought out authority so that they could rule over other people. But Jesus says, "It shall not be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be slave of all." Jesus flips the ladder over and he says, first to the bottom wins. You see, the Christ-like leader doesn't hold up their status as a position of privilege. Instead, the Christ-like leader finds ways to cede their privilege to the people that they lead. Jesus is the ultimate example of this. Jesus says later in Mark chapter 10, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." Jesus climbed down the ladder so that we could take his place. Jesus took the punishment so that we could take the privilege. And he calls his disciples to do the same. So remember the story of when Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. He took the position of a servant, even though he was the King of Kings. And then after he washes the feet of his disciples, he tells them, "I did this as an example so that you would do just like I did." Now, I don't think he's talking just about washing people's feet here. He's talking about taking the position of a servant rather than taking the privilege of the master. As leaders, we should always be asking ourselves, how can I serve the people that I'm leading? How can I facilitate their privilege at my own expense? How is it that I can climb down a few rungs to make room for them in my place? Let's lead people like Jesus and find ways to serve our people.